Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Friday, July the 7th. Hopefully, you all had a wonderful 4th of July. I know that I had a short week of work, which was really fun. I took Monday and Tuesday off, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday have been pretty slow at the office. So, uh, gave me a chance to just kind of hang out and do some spring cleaning around the house, which is always important. Got rid of a lot of furniture that was sitting in my garage and cleaned out the laundry room and uh, love doing that type of stuff because for some reason I'm one of those that if I have a nice house, I have a nice card collection. I know I've said that to you guys a couple of times. So, uh, what's going on with the hobby? I wish I were one of those people that were going to the national. It's just not going to happen. I with the pickups I've done recently, and some of them I'm going to share with you today. Um, I'm actually I'm famous last words. I'm not trying to buy too many cards just because the Burbank card show is coming. Uh, Labor Day weekend. Got a couple of bigger, a couple of other shows that I'm interested in. The Long Beach show is coming back in September. There's going to be a Palm Springs show. Jose Canseco is going to be signing, and it's being put on by the same guys who put up these shows up north in Northern California, in Concord, California. And I know from watching Craig, Midlife Crisis, he's always showing these wonderful videos from up north. And I'm hoping that maybe we'll get some of that down here in Palm Springs. I live about 2 hours from Palm Springs, so thinking of heading out there. So a lot of opportunities to be buying cards over the next couple of months. And I've been fortunate enough to pick up some cards the last month, uh, which I was prepared to share with you. One of the things I tend to do when I make my videos is I make the videos of me showing off the cards, and then I do this introduction for you guys, and I put them all, edit them all together in order, and upload them to YouTube. Well, in today's case, when I started showing off my cards, the original plan was to show 120 years of card pickups that I accumulated in the last month. Well, ran into one problem. All but one of the cards, and one of the card that would have made it 120 years old was a card from, well, make it 110 years old. Was from 1911, hasn't arrived yet. So I'm waiting for my winnings from a Wisconsin collect auction. I think they're called, out of Wisconsin. Waiting for that to arrive. So I had to shrink my YouTube video to 80 years of pickups. And once I started recording, I made 5 or 6 different videos of the cards I picked up from different decades. The video was 35 minutes. And I'll be honest, I just think that's too long. And I felt last week's video was kind of long. It ran almost 30 minutes. And I just don't see people sticking around. And frankly, when I watch my videos, I don't see people sticking around for 30 minutes. So uh, today, what I'm doing is instead, I'm showing you parts of my 80 years of pickups. I kept 2 of the videos that I'm going to show you today. My 1961 tops, all star cards, high numbers, and my recent pickups from the 1941 play ball set, which I have been working on. Um, so I'm going to give you some stats right now. You're going to hear some stats when I show you the video, but the videos are now, I recorded them before I realized I wasn't going to show some of the cards. So you're going to hear me see 80 years of pickups when in reality it's 20 years of pickups. But so I have the 1961 Topps All Star cards I'm going to show you, and my 1941 play ball cards. I have 7 cards from that set that I picked up, and leaves me with 20 more cards to finish the set. I do not plan on finishing it this year. The plan was to finish it hopefully at the end of 2024. But anyway, hopefully those other cards that aren't going to make it in this video will make it in a video in the future. But it's funny. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys. I recorded the videos and I just go, this is just way too long of a video. And so what you're seeing is about 40% of the cards that I picked up the past couple of weeks, and hopefully I show you the rest of the cards in the next coming week's videos. So, all right, without further ado, I've talked long enough. Let's take a look at some of my recent pickups. Okay, the rest of 1961 are all from the All-Star, Sporting News All-Stars. And here is Danny Murtaugh, manager of the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates from 1960. Also went on to manage the 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates World Championship team. Great manager. And like I say, I always show these off. When I buy these are great cards to have. Let's see. The next card I have is Nellie Fox, second baseman. All-Star second baseman of the Chicago White Sox, 1959 American League MVP. And I brought out his infield mate, Luis Aparicio, shortstop. And both, I should say, Nellie Fox and Luis Aparicio, both in the Hall of Fame. The 1961 All-Stars feature a lot of Hall of Famers. And next, this is a great card, Al Kaline. So the American League outfield, I'm complete, consists of Al Kaline, Roger Maris, and Mickey Mantle. I'm still trying to complete my National League. I have Willie Mays and Frank Robinson. I still need Hank Aaron. But here's Al Kaline. We could have and this is marked. And as usual, when it's marked, it's always someone with the initials that start with K. I have several cards that start with the letter K in my collection. Somebody named Kenny or Kyle or Keith was up to no good back then. But there's Al Kaline. And in my last card for this one is going to be Del Crandall, catcher for the Milwaukee Braves. He had a really good career with the Milwaukee Braves. A couple of All-Star seasons there. Later went on to become a manager for the Milwaukee Brewers in the early 70s. And that's Del Crandall. So the stats for my 1961 All-Stars, there's 22 cards. And I have 16 of them. I need 6 more. I need Hank Aaron, Brooks Robinson, the Phillies first baseman, American League catcher Earl Batty, and I also need the manager, Paul Richards, the Orioles manager, and I'm missing somebody in that group, and and Hank Aaron. So yeah, so I'm still needing 6 more, so it's getting a little harder to find. Somehow we'll get it done. All right, I'm finally ready to show off some of my older cards from 1941. Some of you know I've been working on a 1941 play ball set. It's been a little while since I've shown you any new cards that I've received, but I've gotten extremely lucky, I would say, in the last 4 to 6 weeks. I've been able to pick up 7 cards for that set. So I wanted to share some of these with you and talk briefly, hopefully, about some of these guys. Here's the 1941 play ball. Card number 1, Eddie Miller. And Eddie Miller played 14 years from 1936 to 1950, primarily with the Boston Braves, and the Cincinnati Reds. And he's a 7-time All-Star. And this is Eddie Miller. Next up, here's a name you might recognize, and that's Hall of Famer Joe Cronin, 7-time All-Star, and a 20-year career from 1926 to 1945. He was also a player manager. He won the American League pennant with the Washington Senators as a player manager in 1933. And then from 1935 to 1947, he was a player manager with the Boston Red Sox. And he won the American League pennant in 1946. Now, my favorite Joe Cronin story got nothing to do with his playing career. And I only like it because it really helped out the Dodgers. And that was in as early as 1938, it was apparent that Joe Cronin was nearing the end of his playing career. And the Red Sox farm director thought he had found Cronin's successor in Pee Wee Reese. He was a star shortstop for the Louisville Colonels of the AAA American Association. The farm director was so impressed by Reese that he was able to talk Red Sox owner Tom Yawkey into buying the Colonels and making them the Red Sox top farm club. Now, one thing happened though when Tom Yawkey and the scouting director asked Joe Cronin to scout Pee Wee Reese. Cronin realized he was scouting his potential replacement. Believing he still had enough left to be a regular player, Cronin deliberately downplayed Reese's talent and suggested the Red Sox trade him. Reese was eventually traded to the Brooklyn Dodgers, where he went on to have a Hall of Fame career. And as it turned out, Yawkey's concerns, along with the scouting director about Cronin, were valid. His last full year as a player was 1941. After that, he never played more than 76 games per season. Pee Wee Reese played from 1940 to 1958 with the Dodgers, had a Hall of Fame career, and I can't thank Joe Cronin enough for being a stubborn guy and not wanting to give up his spot. So that's Joe Cronin, card number 15 of the 1941 play ball set. Joe Kuhl. He played 18 seasons from 1930 to 1947, primarily with the White Sox, Chicago White Sox, and the Senators. Here he is in a PSA 6. Next up is Bruce Campbell of the Detroit Tigers. He played 13 years from 1930 to 1942, primarily with the Cleveland Indians. Later in his career, he was traded to Detroit. I'm going to do my best to put on my artist's eyes here. Sunny day with some clouds. I'm assuming that's the old Tiger Stadium in the background. And we see the infield behind him and the playing field. And Bruce Campbell was known as Soupy. I wonder if he was the first Campbell who was given the nickname Soup, because it seems like every player now is called Soup if his last name is Campbell. But here is Bruce Campbell. Here's probably some of you, hopefully a lot of you will remember this guy, Tommy Henrich, nicknamed The Clutch or Old Reliable. He played 11 seasons with the New York Yankees from 1937 to 1950. He missed 3 seasons to serve in World War II. 5-time World Series champion, 5-time All-Star. Played on some of the great Yankee teams. Frankly, the Yankee team that I want to learn about most would be the era of 1936 to 1939. Because at this point, Henrich was young, still playing with Lou Gehrig. He played with Lou Gehrig for 3 years. And a very young Joe DiMaggio was in the outfield for most of Henrich's career. But that was a great team. They had Lefty Gomez, and they had Red Ruffing, and they had Bill Dickey and Tony Lazzari and the Crow, Joe Crosetti. If anyone out there knows of a very good book about that squad, I'd really like to read about them. But I was fortunate enough to meet Tommy. Oh my God, about 25 years ago, he was at a card show in Pasadena, California, promoting a book that he was selling. Nobody was talking to him, and I think it was his son-in-law or someone said, come over, that's my dad. His name's Tommy Henrich. He used to play for the Yankees. And I immediately opened up and looked at my brother. I go, I know this guy. I've heard of him. I go, he played with Joe DiMaggio, and he couldn't have been nicer. He was telling us stories, and it's wonderful to meet a ball player. And I had never seen this gentleman play, but it was great to hear him talk for all of 5 minutes. He signed the book. We don't know what happened to the book. It was my nephew's book. We don't know what happened to it, but here is Tommy Henrich, Old Reliable. Next is Buddy Lewis. Played 11 years from 1935 to 1949. He also missed 3 seasons due to World War II. His entire career was with the Washington Senators, two-time All-Star. The thing I found most interesting about Buddy Lewis was before he had turned 26, Lewis compiled 1,112 hits, 10th most for any player, having more than Hall of Famers such as Orlando Cepeda, while being behind others such as Ty Cobb and Mel Ott. So he had a great start of his career. As I mentioned, he went off to go serve in World War II for 3 years, came back to the Senators, played 3 seasons, really wasn't the same by that point and retired. But he got a lot of hits early in his career. His playing career started when he was 19 years old, and that's Buddy Lewis. One thing I wanted to bring out before I show you L.B. Fletcher is that all the cards I showed today, and I'm noticing this as a pattern with the play ball set, all these guys had super long careers. Everyone I spoke to you about today played a range from 11 to 20 seasons. So in regards to the 1941 play ball set, you're going to recognize the Hall of Famers. I personally recognize most of the Dodgers and the Yankees. But a lot of these guys played for teams, frankly, we don't watch every day, like the Senators or the St. Louis Browns. But they had some very good players that played 13, 14 years. So it's one of the highlights of collecting this series is just every time I pop up a guy's name, he might not have flashy stats. He might not have a great story, but he does have the story that he played in the big leagues for a long time. L.B. Fletcher is no exception. He played 12 years from 1934 to 1949, primarily with the Boston Bees, as I mentioned earlier, those are the Braves, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. He missed 2 seasons to serve in World War II. And this is what I found most interesting about L.B. Fletcher's career. Fletcher made his major league debut in 1934 in an unusual way. I mean, talk about American Idol of the Great Depression era. A contest was held to determine which Boston area high school player was most likely to reach the major leagues, and with the winner receiving an invitation to the Braves spring training camp. With the help of a number of votes from his large family, Fletcher won and then actually made the team. That's a great story. He went on to have 12 seasons in Major League Baseball. L.B. Fletcher. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. We looked at 80 years of pickups and love getting new cards. Some final stats on my play ball. I now have 52 of the 72 cards in the set. I need 20 more. I am trying to buy 4 more this year. I don't know if I'll be able to do it just because it's not difficult to find a Ted Williams card. It's not difficult to find a Bill Dickey card. It is difficult to find some of these common guys, especially I'm trying to find them in a PSA 4 to a PSA 6. And they're not easy to find. So getting guys like Eddie Miller or Bruce Campbell or L.B. Fletcher, it hurts the wallet a little also, because when I bought my original play ball cards, and that was in November of 2022, I paid roughly $65 a card. Those cards have all doubled in cost. So now when I'm looking at cards, I'm lucky if I find a card under $100. So this is a hard set. I hope to finish it. But like I said, it's been a fun ride, and I'm glad you're there to stick around with me while I show off some of my cards from various eras. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great weekend.
It's a beautiful day for